Hello, family. I'm Robert. I'm a real alcoholic.
Hey, Robert.
I want to thank everyone for coming to the Atlanta Stepper Society book study. The name of our book study is Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. Let's open with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. What I want to do is do a review of We Agnostics, the chapter on We Agnostics. To me, it's a powerful chapter, and it took me years to take the words off that paper and gel it into my life. Make me really understand what they're talking about. Remember, we're trying to, we grow like spiritually. It's a growth. You know, some people get spiritual awakenings, that's me, and a lot of people get spiritual experiences. So you can't be messing with that thing. Is it working? All right, so you can't, it's a spiritual awakening and spiritual experience. Me, myself, I get awakenings, and I'm kind of grateful for that. I have not just got no spiritual experience where it's a slap and it's done instantly. Mine's been gradual over a period of time. So what I want to do is do a review before we go into the chapter on how it works. Now this is my life. This is about me. And I'm talking to myself. I'm giving my experience, strength, and hope to you guys, but I'm also talking to me because it's very, very important that I understand where I am spiritually. Does that make sense? So I'm going to do a quick review. All right. Number one, I'm going to talk about what an agnostic is. This is for me. All right. An agnostic is a person that needs proof that there's a God. You can believe a little bit or don't believe. You don't really consider yourself an atheist, but you 1 inch from it. You're looking for proof there's a God. I believe all the things y'all saying. I probably believe in the stories in the Bible, but I don't see no proof of it. You know, I don't see no proof of it. All right, and the reason I was like that is probably based on like everyone else. I was born in America from a family. My first ever experiences of God. Don't touch it. Don't move it. Don't do nothing. Please. You can't do all that. All right, I'm going to start over. We're going to talk about we agnostics. All right. An agnostic is a person who believes, probably believe in a higher power, probably believe in the scriptures and all that, but need proof. I need proof that it exists. I need proof. All right. For me, and most people, I got all the information I can get from outside of me. My family, friends, other people's families, school, talked about God. But it was coming from the outside. I never got it from inside of me. And I grew up believing in a God that's outside of me. And I'm only talking about myself. I saw pictures of Jesus, and I thought and believed for a long time that that picture of Jesus was a man that lived, that was perfect 3,000 years ago, and he died, got in a little grave, and came out the grave, and then he rose, and logic was probably the next best thing. So I started using my mind and my brain for reason and logic. All right, and what I mean by that, reasoning is my senses, everything I can touch, taste, smell, feel, you know what I'm trying to say, hear, that's my senses. My ability to think, my education, my motive, my ways, my brain dictated or drove my life. That was my way of maneuvering through my life. I always felt if I had a better education, I was going to be something. If I had a better job, I was going to be something. If I maneuver it this way, I'm going to be successful. And that's reasoning and logic. There's nothing wrong with using your brain. There was nothing wrong with me for using my brain. But my best drinking habits overpowered my reasoning. That makes sense? With a college education, a military career, my reasoning and my logic only took me so far in life. That's my story. Equation. My best thinking did not stop me from using. That makes sense? I continue to use. I was so good and grand with thinking that as my life started spiraling down, I was able to justify it as I watched it go down. That makes sense? Yeah. I was able to explain to myself that I just went through a divorce, I'm out of the military, I'm hooked on crack. If I just get another job, I can rebuild that. Here I am, all the way down on rock bottom, homeless, a homeless man. I'm still using logic and reasoning to build my life up. Logic and reasoning was not building me up. It was taking me down. That makes sense? It was taking me down. When I was at my worst, after like 10 years of being homeless, I was a skid row bum. Sleeping in pain was the love of God. That was the only thing left for me, was the love of God. I did not know it. So I end up in treatment, and I had the philosophy that anywhere I go in life, if I start from the bottom, Robert, can build himself up. So as I start coming into this program, it was all about me. Y'all were talking about God, but it was really all about me. That makes sense? It was me rebuilding me. Me doing for me. I was operating totally on self-will and reasoning. I was in recovery a few years, and I was sober but stuck. Sober but stuck. Some years ago, I started reading. And I didn't know it was the love of God. I was doing everything because God was on the outside of me. When I started working the steps, it kept saying over and over and over that God was inside of me. That was kind of hard for me to swallow because I was trained that God was outside of me. And for me, it was a punishing God. If you can't do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a basic understanding what they're talking about. I still didn't grasp it yet. I still didn't know what God was. So if you tell me that God's on the inside of me, and I don't know what's inside of me, I'm just as lost as the God on the outside of me. Because I still don't know what it is. Anybody feel me? I have no idea what God was. But you told me it's inside of me. Now I got another problem. I got to find out what this God is. Now this is my journey. I started reading like about maybe 14 years ago. I started investigating it. I started buying CDs and books and tapes and started reading and learning because I wanted to know what this God was. So I think one of the very first books I ever read was Think and Go Rich by Napoleon Hill. Years ago, I read it. I thought it was the best thing on earth. And it was. Still is to me. Then I read a book called, kept saying, put this stuff to the test. And they were talking about faith. In our big book, it talks about reasoning and it talks about faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Now let me do a little experiment so you know what I'm talking about. In a three-dimensional world, that's where we have depth, weight, and height. That's what we're living in right now. If I can see you, you can see me. This is three-dimensional. Mm-hmm. All right. If you're looking on a TV, that's two-dimensional. You know, it's flat. The guy on the TV, somebody standing right here, can't even see him. Don't only see nothing out there because their mind can't perceive it. I don't want to go too far in this, right? But let's just pretend that behind me is the invisible. In front of me is the third dimension. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for in the third dimension, but the evidence of things not seen that's coming from the invisible. All things are made from God, imagined from God, that came from the invisible. There's nothing out here. Imagination for the invisible works through my mind. I don't know about y'all. It gives me the power to create. Because I was given that gift by God. See, we weren't taught that. To explain it a little better, let's go back to reason and logic. Because the mortal eyeballs, that's what we live out of. We don't go no farther than what our eyes, these eyeballs right here, can see. But they tell us that's the weakest point. That's the weakest point. So logically, if I say, right here on this table, now you guys are in here with me, I see a beautiful doll sitting on that table. I see it. I have faith that it's there. You guys will look at the table because you're using your logic. There's no doll there. The man's crazy. There's no doll there. Can't touch it, don't see it, can't smell it, can't feel it, don't hear it. Senses. Any faith, no matter if 50 people in here, I'm not listening to not one of you. I believe it. I guarantee you that the doll will manifest right here. That is the entire story of the Bible. Everybody, every character in the body had to operate in faith. They all had faith. God said, Hebrews 6:11-6, it's impossible to please God without faith. You have to believe it. You have to imagine it, lock in on it, and keep it. If I'm crazy, test it. Put it to the test. Let me give you some good ones. It was just a dog. Once I started learning about faith, because we're going to have faith to grow. It ain't going to work. It got you here listening to me. Got me talking to you. Come on now. That's it. Can I explain it any better than that? That logic and reasoning got you right here, listening to me. And me having to go to tell you. Let me give you some real ones. Some real ones. Use my wife. I got permission to do this. My wife is a breast cancer survivor. She's about 5 years now. When she first was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was into this, like I am now. And that was devastating to the family. All right, so we haven't had nothing severe going on in our family. So when that happened, I was already into using God, which is they're going to operate on this day, and we went for the operation. Nobody told us nothing. I drove my wife down for the operation. And we get down to the hospital. They say, we're not going to operate today. You got to come back in 2 weeks. We're going to do it in 2 weeks. That, you thought it was bad on the way there? Think about on the way home. We didn't know why. I started putting this in operation. Now, she couldn't get reconstruction surgery, so if they took the breast off, they wasn't going to be able to rebuild one. I went, and we went into prayer, everybody. Then I started imagining reconstruction. Better, you know, everything all right. I would picture myself and her at the hospital. She's going to surgery, and they're going to rebuild her breast and do everything they're supposed to. But we didn't have the insurance for it. They called us. I did this about 2 weeks. I would not let it go. I didn't tell a soul. I kept it to myself. I imagined it. Sometimes my mind would try to, you know, talk against it. I shut up, fool. I'm sticking in faith. See, that's what they talk about, walking in faith. When we got to the hospital, the doctor called us up and said, well, I got good news for y'all. Your wife will be the first person in the history of Kaiser to have reconstruction surgery in this hospital.
Wow.
The very first woman. They did not have reconstruction surgery 2 weeks ago, but they was in the process, and when she got there, she was the very first patient. That's what faith do. See, when you're operating in faith, Larry, you ain't got to figure out with your logic how it's going to come out. Because the power that's greater than me can solve everything, got all the tools, got all the instruments, got everything to make it work. My logic got me sitting in here. Two different worlds. Two different worlds. The other day, she goes once a year, we're going every 6 months for a mammogram. I think that's what it's called. But I go with her. She's a nervous wreck when she go. She went the other day and took the x-rays and stuff. They told her, we need you to come back for more images. There you go. Fear, element of fear. I was with her yesterday. I didn't say nothing because I know how this works. I didn't have to talk no more. I'm a believer. I go in there. We was in there 3 hours. I was sitting in the lobby, imagining in the office where the doctor was, and they had already told her like halfway through the image that they found a spot, a lump of tissue. So she was texting me, saying, you know, oh my God, you know. She was texting me and I was texting back, it's okay. But I put my God, my faith, in the room where the doctor was, and the doctor told us it was nothing but a cyst, and it was okay. Go home. Everything gonna be all right. I had a conversation with the doctor. I'm sitting in the lobby, But my mind, my imagination, the part of me that God gave me, was in the office going through the scenario that I believe in. When she called me, I went to up to the office. I didn't have to go to the office. She was coming out with the paper, waving her hand. Said it's only a cyst.
Wow. You already knew.
I already knew. She said, you was out there sleeping. I said, that's what you think. That's what you think. I could give you $1 million. Listen, I owe the IRS $55,000, $65,000. That's what they told me. I said, that's impossible. I went to the IRS to try to explain to them in logic. The lady sitting there at me said, you got 1, 2, 3 houses, a store, and this and that. Boy, I can't wait. This is the lady that doing my audit. I can't wait till I get my first house. You auditing me. I got 4 houses. You don't even have 1. Something wrong with this one. That's logic. I said, okay. Put it in my mind. I got witnesses. Everything I'm talking about, I got living witnesses in their room. For 3 solid years, I put it in my mind, y'all owe me. Y'all owe me. And they're calling and back and forth with them. Don't worry about it, they owe us. When it all came to the bottom of it, they wrote me a check out for $55,000. Wouldn't let it go. But see, here's the deal. Everything that you place in faith has an incubation period. It's not done when you want it to be done. It's done in the incubation. There's nothing alive that did not have an incubation period. For a man and woman, it's 9 months. You plant the seed in the female, you ain't gonna get no baby till 9 months later. For a horse, it's 12 months. No. For a horse, it's 12 months. I think a sheep or lamb is 5 months. I know a little dog is 63 days. Everything has an incubation period. Once you put something that you really, really want to happen in your life, and it don't hurt no one else, you put it in that faith, and you leave it there, you sleep with it, you eat with it, let it incubate, it will manifest in your life. This is what these steps show me. I would have never got to this without doing these steps. That makes sense? So, after years of doing that, I am no longer agnostic. I am a true believer. A true believer. That makes sense? I am a true believer. All things are possible through God. Everything came from God. There's nothing that you can't do once you taught how to do it. There's nothing you cannot do. The I am inside of me is the same God that's inside everybody in this room. Everybody on this planet. Somebody asked me one time, they said like, how long you think you're gonna live? I said, I'm already dead. He said, what are you talking about? You talking? I said, I'm dead. I know I've been dead about 15 years now. Maybe 16 years. I said, what are you talking about? I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I heard a story one time about years ago, maybe the early 1900s or late 1800s, some missionary, you know how missionary go and help other countries? Some missionaries went to South America to help them, teach them how to plant, teach them how to grow, you know, a better way to live. And they were down there, and while they were down there, they went to a village, and the village had the water, you know, and everything. They were down there, and they got killed. There were 5 of them. They got horrible. They killed them. Horrible death after they'd been there for a few months or years. They killed them real bad. So it became a national story. So a college student read about it, he studied it, and he went to South America. This is 50 years later. And he went to that village. When he went to the village, he says to the village people, the older people that were there 50 years ago, he said, show me where the missionaries that came to help y'all village, where they got killed at. I know it's on this bank, you know, the river bank or something. Well, show me the spot where they got killed. This is the story I heard. The older guys there, they looked at him and said, the missionaries were here, but they didn't die here. They died 5 years before they got here. And I said, well, the college, nah, they died here. He said, nah. When they turned their life over to help others, that's when they died. And they were just doing the will of God by grace. I'm dead. The robber, the crackhead, the one that only operated in logic and reasoning, is gone. It's gone. I only live for the grace of God and to teach these 12 steps. That's my life, to help others. That's what we mean by being reborn. That's what we mean about you must die in order to live. Martin Luther King said a man can't not live unless he has something to die for. You give up self to be selfless. So you only can operate in the power of God. There's nothing can harm you. People look at me, I think I heard Chris the other day saying, I'm watching your life, it worked. Yeah, it worked. Don't watch it, join it. Join it. Join it. I'm not telling you something that's really far-fetched. You can do this yourself. Just put it to the test. I'm going to close with this and we're going to go in the book. Anything that you really, really want, it can be money, it could be an automobile, it could be a nice relationship, it could be anything you want, as long as it don't harm no one else. I wouldn't want it. You know, it works if you harming someone too. It don't care. The law don't care what you want. You know, you see evil folk successful. That's what they want. But I'm encouraging you not to want to hurt nobody. Because the law will work any way you want it to work. It don't care. It don't discriminate. That makes sense. It'll work for the evil too. And put it to the test. When you go to sleep tonight, think about something that you really, really want in your life that's good. It might be good for someone else too. Hold on to it. Imagine that you have it though. Don't pray for something. You know, like, let me go back to the dog. You can't pray for a dog. Pray from the dog. That you already got it. You got to have evidence that it's already there. Keep that in your imagination. The wonderful, beautiful imagination that you have. Keep it there, lock it there, operate from having the existence of the dog, and the dog has no choice but to manifest, because that's how everything was created anyway. That's the mystery of the Bible. Everything, every character in the Bible was just like us. They operated in reasoning and logic. Every day one. Read anybody's story. They operated like we did. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Then all of a sudden, they hit rock bottom. Most of them, 90% of them, sitting down at somewhere, went to sleep, put the head on a rock or something, seen a dream. Only way you're going to see a dream is in your imagination. Believed the dream, got up, and a power greater than themselves changed their life. They all believed in a power greater than themselves. That's why the book said this stuff is old as mankind. It's the oldest man been on earth. This ain't the, we just now getting to it. I don't know why. It just now coming to us, but it's old as mankind. So when we start reading from this point, I had to do that tonight in order to get to this point. So when we start reading, it's going to make sense. That makes sense. You will understand it better now because you understand a little bit more about faith. Believe. Act like you already got it. If you want to have a job, be employed in your mind. Go to work every day in your mind. When you go to sleep at night, go to work in your mind. Keep it locked in your mind. Do not let it go. You ain't got to walk around telling everybody. That's what they said about praying in the closet and keep it a secret. Because you telling everybody, ain't going to be nothing but weed trying to choke it out. You ain't going to get that. You know, negative stuff. Don't keep it to yourself. You don't need all that negative stuff. Your mind alone going to try to take it from you. You don't need no help. Lock it in. Hold on to it. It has no choice but to manifest to it. Has no choice. That will make everything a lie if it didn't come to you. That's the whole thing about life. That's life. Operate on reasoning and logic. Am I right? Operate on reasoning and logic. Get a little college education. Get all good. Get a little house. Get a little car. Smoke a little dope. Bang! Try it again. Get quicker. You hit the rock bottom quicker. Up and down. Then you power greater than you. And you start to live a happy, joyous, and free. There's nothing outside of you will make you happy. Everything that you need and love is inside of you. If you got a miserable life on the outside, because you're miserable on the inside. If you're unhappy on the outside, you're unhappy on the inside. If you poor on the outside, you poor on the inside. Everything that you pushed out. So you don't have to beg for no money, create money. You a beggar on the outside, you a beggar what? On the inside. On the inside. I didn't make the law. I didn't make it. But the law don't lie. All right. Now we can go on and start studying. Page 58, how it works. But I'm grateful to be able to do that. That makes sense? I hope it helps some people. Yeah. Page 58, how it works. All right, Wayne.
Rarely have we seen a person fail who thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. They are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders. But many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest.
All right, let's break this one down. Rarely, that means not often. Now listen to this, people. Not often have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. We're talking about the path of the 12 steps. The program's path. I want to say that again. Rarely have we seen, not often have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. There's two types of people who don't kind of recover. That don't recover. The cannots and the will nots. Cannot recover, or you just will not do it. That's the type of people who don't make it. Those who do not recover, see, I didn't make it up. It said those who do not recover are people who, number one, cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program, the 12 steps. That's the program, the 12 steps. If you don't give yourself to the 12 steps, you ain't going to recover. Bottom line. Two type of people. Let's talk about the will nots first. Will not completely give themselves to this simple problem. They are usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. They will not be honest with themselves. You know, I tell men, because I run a men program, if you cheating yourself in the 12 step, how you going to raise your family? How you going to raise your kids? You cheating yourself, you got to be cheating them too. Same with mothers. That makes sense? You will have 12 stepper, you're going to have a half life. It says, they're incapable of being honest with themselves. They are such unfortunate. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. Like just been born incapable of being honest to yourself. They never learn how to do it. Just all you do is make up excuses and blame other people about everything. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty, hard honesty. Their chances are less than average. If you got a person who just can't be honest with themselves, then they will not do this program, they ain't going to make it. They're not going to be able to get to the column 4 and the 4th step and see what part they played in all this stuff. All they're going to do is spend the rest of their life blaming other people, making excuses. There are those two. These are the people who cannot. Not will not, cannot. Those two who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorder. If you come in here and you're depressed, I mean, this is mostly everybody. You're depressed and you got a little bit mentally off or something like that, that's okay. You got to go take some antidepressant, that's okay. You needed to be balanced or something, I highly suggest it. Don't walk around all depressed and suicidal and all that. Go get your medical help. I really suggest it. The reason I know it worked, because I did it. I ain't talking on my neck. That stuff helped me, and I weaned myself off. I see people. We had a guy, this is no story, all right, Ken? He was in our program. When he go to sleep at night, he seen family members spinning around at night talking bad to him. You ain't gonna be nothing, you know, in a circle. Yeah. You know, when he sleep. Yeah. I mean, you ain't gonna be nothing. You always alive. His grandmama, his aunts, his uncle, you know, spinning around. I didn't think it was crazy, because I had read this. Mental disorders. I didn't kick him out of the program. I'll kick a wheel knot in a minute. You got to go. But I know about a can knot. See what I'm saying? We said, my staff said, ask Ken, this I'm witness now. We sat in there and we talked to him. We sent him down to Grady. They put him on some medication, and that man is still clean today. How many years it might have been? 13, 14 years. He still see people spinning around, but they saying good things to him. We love you. You're doing a good job. Appreciate you. And he was able to be honest with himself. See, it works. All right. So it says, there are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorder, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. So at the end of the day, the only ones who don't recover is the will not do it. And the relapse history of our fellowship already explained that one. People who do the steps stay clean. People who don't do them, relapse. There's a big distinction. Don't let nobody tell you you don't need these 12 steps. My first pastor, when I was in the fellowship, I was working on my 5th step. I had been all through this. I was up in here now, you know what I'm saying? I've been with y'all, and I seen people be clean. I know where I came from, too. I remember I was at my 5th step, and it said something about pick someone that you can tell your story to. With, you know, I had went through a sponsor, so I was using my logic. Sponsor took me all the way through the 4th step. I said, but I'm going to do my 5th step with my pastor. That means my logic. I want to go to my pastor. Man, I went to that man. We sat out at over there, Cascade, what's the pancake place? What's that? No, the church one. Beautiful. We went up in the beautiful at the church. I was so proud. I had my 4th step work, ready to do the 5th step. He ordered dinner, you know, pancake breakfast like stuff. And I laid it on the table. I knew what to do. It was already saving my life. I've been with y'all. I laid it down there. He said, man, put that stuff up. You don't need that. All you need is Jesus.
Oh, that worked.
I said, I saw them pancakes and I was hungry too. I had to think for myself. Oh, man, I picked my stuff up. I said, I holler at you. I left. I ain't gonna let nobody ruin my recovery.
That's right. That's right.
Pastor, no pastor, I'm out of here, because I know what the 12 steps do. I have been too far. Nobody gonna deprive me of getting the God of my understanding. And I walked out of there. I didn't have no money, so I wasn't gonna tip nothing. I had to go. And I left. Went right back to my sponsor, told him I apologize for what I did. Let's keep going. I've been clean ever since. I seen that, and then I seen, no, I ain't gonna need to do that. I don't need to do that. Let me keep going. You know, you learn to stay out of your mind.
Yeah.
But I sure gonna say something nasty. Do the next one.
Our stories disclose.
Go ahead.
Our stories disclose in a general way. In a general way, what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have, and are willing to go any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps.
We already know about that. Every time we get ready to tell our stories or something like that, this is where that came from. What it used to be like, what happened, and what it's like now. This is right in this paragraph. So I'm going to go down to this one. And right here it says, if you have decided you want what we have, and I was telling you about the faith and how it works and all that, if you really want some of that, you want to stay clean and sober, and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. Anybody who's willing to go to the length, raise your hand. All right, that's good. Remember that. Remember right now, you put your hand up.
That's right.
All right. Do the next one.
And some of these we bought. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. All right, let's talk about that for a minute. As some of these we bought. Remember, we're talking about the 12 steps from this point on. We're really talking about the house cleaning, step 3, and then the house cleaning, step 4 through 9. We got to clean house. We got to get up and get this stuff up out of us so the I am, or the spirit inside of us, can start manifesting itself into our life. That makes sense? Can't be clouded by junk and resentments and anger and fear and all this kind of stuff. That blocks you from the Spirit of God. You can't use the God inside of you help no one when you all messed up.
So it said that some of these we balked. Balk means to stop short of completion. To don't go all the way. Just stop short. Who like baseball? Most people like baseball. Let's play a little game. Baseball game tonight. 5-minute baseball game. You got the players, right, on the field. When the pitcher, I know Larry know this, when the pitcher's on the mound, and when he winds up, right, and he looks around, everybody gets set, right? So he winds up and he fakes and don't throw it. Call the ball, right? The batter is what? He get walk. He can go get a free base.
No, not necessarily.
Why not?
You have to have 3 balls on to get a free base.
No, any ball you go in.
A balk, you go up.
Not the batter.
Yes.
You advance.
Yes.
You advance.
You got to be on base.
All right, but let's. I don't want to get into that. They advance.
You got
All
to
right,
be on base.
it's a penalty. They don't call it a strike, do they?
No, call it a ball.
A ball? It's a ball, advance. All right, here's the deal. Why are they penalized?
Because
You got
it's
everybody
not
trying to
sure.
do-
Huh?
It's not an actual action. You fake it.
All right, but why do they penalize him? What he walk forward?
Deception.
It's deception.
Yeah.
Who is he deceiving?
Everybody.
Name some.
The batter.
You know the story. Go ahead. Go on. What happens here, for everybody don't know, everybody is deceived. So we're talking about everybody on the field,
People in the stand.
people, the fans in the stand,
Cameraman.
all the announcers,
Everybody.
the cameraman, the troops in Iraq, the troops that watching it on the ships. Everybody was fake when he did that.
Right.
Because before he did that, everybody got set to watch. Everybody announces. Everybody is ready for the ball. And he faked everybody. He got penalized. Whether it's a strike, a ball, or advance, right?
Right.
It was a penalty. Now here's the deal. When you're doing the 12 steps, right? Let's say you get up to step 3 and you quit. You don't carry forth. All the players involved get faked. You got all the angels waiting on you. All your blessings waiting on you. The Jesus that you believe in, whether it's on the inside or outside, waiting on you. The higher power is waiting on you. Your families is waiting on you. All your kids is waiting on you. Your job is set in place. Whether you got one or not, it's set. Everything they say, everything that operates in faith is set. And you get up there and fake it. Got you. Now you get penalized. What happens when we get penalized? Relapse. Just think about that. That some of these we bought. We thought, going to that logic, we could find an easier, softer way. There is no easier, softer way. But we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideals, and the result was nil, zero, until we let go absolutely. See, that's the problem. Our old ideals got us here. So you got to realize that you have to surrender them kind of ideals and thinking to allow someone that's been through the process to help you. You don't realize 10 times and thinking that when I get a job, I'm going to leave the treatment center and everything going to be okay. You done did that 10 times. And you come right into the next treatment center hollering, boy, when I get my next job, I'm up out of here. You only deceiving yourself because you're incapable of being honest. An honest man says, no, I don't want to work no more till I finish these steps. Let me stay where I'm at and receive what I'm supposed to get because I need help. I might not like Robert. I might not like Martha and Ken and Eddie, but I'm staying. They're going to kick me out. I'd rather be kicked out by them than me kick myself out.
Come on, man.
That's right.
All right, the next paragraph, then we're going to stop.
Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power, that one is God. May you find him now.
Read the next one.
Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at a turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon.
All right, here's the deal. Remember, we deal with alcohol. Just think about this now. This is so deceiving. To me, it's poetry. It's poetry to me. They say we deal with alcohol. Cunning, baffling, powerful. Let's break them words down for 1 minute. If it's cunning, it's clever, exhibiting creativity, creative, clever, smart, very creative. That's cunning. Beautiful, creative. Then they say baffling. Come right on the other end. Confusion, deception, frustrating, and disappointing. Now how alcohol make you creative and beautiful and clever, and in the same whip, the next drink got you confused, frustrated, and disappointed? Come on now, how you gonna win?
No win.
There's no win. You can't beat that one. And then it says powerful. It has power. It gets you any way you look at it.
Yeah.
There's no way out of it. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. All power. This invisible God that's inside us. The God that created the entire universe of all universes. The galaxy of all galaxies. If you ever want to know how powerful it is, you don't have to call it God. You can call it creative force. You can call it energy. Energy works better for a lot of folks. I like to look at the energy ways too. All the energy that ever created everything and everything is in me also. And it all created everything from nothing, from the invisible world. It all comes from the invisible world. It was all imagined. Go read first. And then it was manifest. Just like we've been manifest, and we have this power that's in us. That one is God. And it say, may you find him now. Don't wait the next year. Now it's in you. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. Remember I told you the turning point? Half measures is balking. That some of these we balk. If you're doing half stuff, you balking. If you go to work, do a half job, you balking. We ask his protection and care with complete abandon. We have to learn to surrender to this program. I'm not asking you to be where I am. I'm just asking you to just surrender to do the 12 steps. Because I know, I have watched people begin the 12 steps and come all the way through them, and I see the same beauty in every one. And I've also watched the people who don't do it and see the same misery and confusion. It will change your life for the better. We're not trying to make you the Pope. No. All we're trying to do is clean your life up so you can decide what your life is going to be about. I don't know what your life is going to be about. To me, it's like a good movie when they cut it off at the end and you got to imagine what the rest is going to be like. That's how this 12 step is. I can't tell you. I can tell you one thing. You will be clean and sober. But the rest of your life is like once you do the 12 step, it's like a good ending for me. And then your life begins. That makes sense? And you go out and you have a beautiful life, I tell you. But it's life. It's going to have its ups and downs because of you living in a flesh. This is the cross right here. You're going to have struggles, but you don't have to use no drugs or alcohol to go through them. So with that, you have a solution. All right, I want to thank y'all for a good meeting.
Thank you.